All right, folks. NYC market rents hit record highs in Manhattan and Brooklyn, even as Socialist Mayor Zohran Mamdani celebrates his big rent freeze win for stabilized units. But, folks, people are upset. Take a look at this. This is clip 1A.
When I've been doom scrolling, my feed has been filled with street interviews of people sharing how much they pay for rent in New York City.
I live in Tribeca. I pay $6,900. Make like a little over $300K.
The amount of money that some people pay to live in New York is a lot closer to the mortgage for a family home than rent for a one-bedroom apartment. At least my family likes to remind me of this. But the truth is, despite New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani's affordability campaign and his bold attempt to freeze the rent,
Okay. All right. So we got a major issue here, and New Yorkers are upset. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 2A.
This guy's been mayor of New York City for 1 month. Okay. What he promised was a free bus for everybody, grocery stores run by the government for, poor people to get food, which is a good thing, I think. And that rent was going to go down. Those were like the big three things he promised everybody. So today he's got his first meeting with the city about the budget. And what he says is, I'm raising property taxes on everybody by 10%, okay? Rent's not going to go down, actually. He's draining $1 billion from the rainy day fund, which I don't even know what that is, but it doesn't sound good. And none of the free stuff that he promised is actually happening.
So New York has simply become too expensive for the greater class. Residents pay city, state, and federal tax in New York. In Italy, for example, your primary residence, you don't pay tax on it. Here, you pay exorbitant property tax. So, and on top of all that, you don't see where the money is going. That's the problem. The sidewalks are neglected. The city is crumbling. Garbage is piled up. It's full of rats. It's more homeless than ever since COVID. And the traffic gridlock, and the traffic is ridiculous, actually. And the rents, a one-bedroom apartment in New York on average is $5,000 a month.
My goodness. All right, ladies, let's get into this because this is getting out of control. All right, Nicole, what are your thoughts on this? He promised free buses, rent freezes that were going to help with this stuff, and it doesn't seem like it's doing it.
DSA promises a lot of things. They promise the sky, the moon, unicorns, and glitters for everybody. But what they deliver is exactly what he has delivered. High taxes, because somebody's got to pay for these grocery stores run for the poor by the government. People often forget the government is you. You are the government. It's not a mysterious place in Washington, D.C. with people held up in the basement. Every single tax-paying American makes up our government. Yes, we elect representatives to go represent us in DC, but we are the people who are funding these free bus rides. We are the people funding these free grocery stores. And guess what? Everyone who lives in the state of New York is kicking in so Zohran Mamdani and the DSA can live their socialist tendencies. It is ridiculous, but you were warned. We told you what he was going to do. And I'm not too petty not to say I told you so because I told you so.
Yeah. Shelly, what are your thoughts on this?
It's a classic supply and demand issue that Mamdani, I hope I'm saying his name incorrectly because I'm tired of trying to say it correctly anyway. But nevertheless, that he's lying about, he can only quote unquote rent stabilize, as far as I understand, the rent stabilization apartments, basically the Section 8 houses or apartments in New York City. That's number one. Number two, the taxes. We always said the taxes, the land is scarce. Okay. You have New York has about 8+ million people. They have high income industries and they have a lot of tourists, students, transient people coming through there. And again, the supply is not just there to meet the demand. So as Mamdani may want to do, he's not a magician. He can't just snap his fingers and all of a sudden all of these other apartments show up to compete with the supply and demand shortage. That's not going to work. And number three, if there are rent stabilizations other than the ones that he can control as far as the Section 8, then guess what? The landlords are going to get them stabilized at the higher end.
Right. Yeah. So again, I mean, this is madness. All right. And as you mentioned, so this you can freeze the rent by government order, but you can't freeze inflation, insurance, taxes, labor. The cost to replace, an air conditioning unit or a boiler. So eventually somebody pays. So what happens a lot of times with this freezing rents, it doesn't freeze expenses. So the Rent Guidelines Board's Rent Guidelines Board's own 2026 data found operating costs for buildings containing rent stabilized apartments rose 5.3%, including a 10.5% increase in insurance costs and a 2.6 increase in real estate taxes. So a landlord receiving 0% more rent has to absorb these increases from the existing operating margin. So what happens then? This stuff doesn't get fixed. Is that right, Nicole?
That's exactly what happens. And then this is what he's planning. Things don't get fixed. They deem your privately held property a slum, and you become, quote unquote, a slumlord. And his new group of community takeover artists come in and sweep up your private property, and you're no longer a property owner. It's owned by the city of New York. He's talked about this extensively, about how they're going to take over a lot of these private properties because they're underserving the general public. Well, they're not underserving the general public, but if I can only charge you $300 for rent and the market is $6,900 a month for rent, and I have to replace a broiler, I have to provide a doorman, I've got to get trash pickup for you and pay exorbitant electric and water bills and things for the general maintenance of the building, I'm out of business. And of course, you're not getting a new boiler. Of course, you're going to have to do something with your own damn trash because I can't afford it. It becomes a weight on the working class. And this is what happens every single time in a socialist leaning kind of community. It never fails. It never fails.
Yeah. Go ahead, Shelly.
Oh, I was going to say, in addition to that, when the rents are exorbitantly high, I'm saying exorbitant, I don't know what the market rate is, but if they are $6,000, $5,000, that means you're only going to have pretty much two classes of people. And one of them is going to be ass out because the wealthy and the rich, that's where New Yorkers, they're going to be able to afford the condos and all the other, specialized housing, if you will. They're going to be able to afford those. But the ass out people, they won't even have rent free or rent stabilization because the market is not going to meet that demand. So therefore, again, you're going to have more transient, maybe more homeless, or as they're called, unhoused, or people are just going to have to get up and move.
Absolutely. That's what they're doing. They're getting up and moving. All right. And you asked about the average rent. So as of mid 2026, in Manhattan, the median or average rents are hovering around between $49,000 to $54,000 a month, okay, with recent reports showing 3 to 9% increases. All right, so there's jumps in certain spots. And this is one bedrooms, folks. Okay. Citywide, the average is around 3,700 to 4,100. Okay. So that's up 3% in the past year, despite what we call what Mamdani has been calling this relief. All right. This is no relief. People are not seeing any relief in Brooklyn or Queens. Okay. They're seeing big climbs in this rent. All right. And 0% increase. So the freeze for 1 and 2 year leases, that's from October 2026 to September 2027. So this was Mamdani's campaign promise, but it's not helping, folks. It's not helping. These rents, while they're controlled, they're doing exactly what economists have warned. The landlords are pulling units offline, and so then this creates a housing deficit. All right.
Absolutely.
This is a big problem.
Absolutely. You can have all the rent freezes you want on government subsidized houses, but guess what you cannot do? You cannot mandate that people rent out their property. Exactly. That's the landlord's private property. It's not government property. The government only sends subsidies to those landlords. That is their property. So you cannot mandate that they actually lease their property out for anything. They can just shut it up, shack it up, put the wood on the door, and go ahead and skip town.
Absolutely. Nicole, I mean, Do you believe people are really feeling the pinch here? And do you think they're waking up, or you think they're just going along to get along?
Listen, I don't know that New Yorkers have yet given up on the hopes and the dreams of Zamdamit, but I will tell you that people who live in the state of New York would tar and feather him on sight given said opportunity, because it's not just New York City money that's funding the city, it's money from all over the state. And he had better pray that Hochul stays governor. He had better get down on his knees on his little carpet and pray that Allah sprinkles some dust on somebody, because if she loses that gubernatorial race, New York City is cooked. The rest of the state should not have to fund his pipe dreams. They should not. Currently, they do. This magical balanced budget that he touts all the time is only balanced on the back of the rest of the people who live in the state of New York, where I'm going to tell you, and I've lived in upstate New York for a long time, I can tell you no one in upstate New York is paying $6,900 for rent on anything. That is not the way that economy works. New York City has an artificially inflated economy, just like we have here in Maryland, an artificially inflated economy, although it's much bigger than ours. But they depend on money from the state to balance things out when it gets out of control. So what happens when the state says no?
Yeah. And folks, And folks, we played a little bit of the Free Press's reporting on this. I want to play a little bit more for you guys so you can get the full understanding of exactly what's going on here. Take a look here.
New York City has never been more expensive. In fact, rents just hit an all-time high, with the average New Yorker paying more than $5,400 for a one-bedroom in Manhattan, and overall median rent in Manhattan hitting, wait for it, $5,295 a month. So why is the rent still too damn high? First, Mamdani's rent freeze only applied to the 1 million already rent-stabilized apartments, but over 57,000 of those units sit vacant. Because they can't raise rents to cover repair costs, landlords aren't motivated to renovate them and put them onto the market. Last year, the city also banned broker fees, and since then, the cost of rent has jumped by pretty much exactly how much those fees were before. Another problem? New York just doesn't have enough housing. According to a study in 2024, New York City needs around 540,000 additional units to meet the crisis. Even though there's been plans put in place by both the Adams and Mamdani administrations to fund this, it will take several years before they even make a dent. New York City Comptroller Mark Levine put it bluntly in a recent post: NYC's housing affordability crisis is at DEFCON 1. We need to push harder on every front to address our housing shortage, update zoning, invest more city money in affordable units, lower the time and cost city bureaucracy imposes on construction, get thousands of vacant regulated units back on the market. A word readily on the tongues of most politicians today: affordability is one part of the problem, but how do we actually achieve it? Reducing regulation and creating more housing is a good.
There it is. All right. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that, on what she said there? That's pretty much what we were saying.
Absolutely. The last part, again, the supply. What New Yorker or construction person, builder, developer is going to come in with those fees and costs already added on the new development? They haven't even broke ground yet, but they have, I don't know, upwards of, let's just say, thousands of dollars already, just because they're going into a rent stabilized area, all these regulations, taxes, all these things, a low land supply, if you will. So why are they even encouraged? There's no incentive for new building to go on. Therefore, again, more and more New Yorkers, unfortunately, will be ass out.
Yeah. And Nicole, this has happened before. In the 70s, New York City saw abandonment, arson for insurance, suppressed rents, disincentivized building and repairing. Okay, this is economics 101. Price controls create shortages, and they're falling for it again.
Of course they're falling for it again, because they don't, for crying out loud, they don't even honor and remember September 11th. Yeah. And that was well after the 70s. We have such a short memory when it comes to historic things, but you would expect someone who is running for mayor of a major American city to have understood the history of what happened in this city and how it got to where it is and what he can do to protect the good things and eradicate the bad things. But, Zamdamit doesn't have that history. His agenda is simple and plain. He wants to usher in this democratic socialism, and he doesn't care who's hurt in the process of doing it. Money leaves, what does he care? The broker that city is, the better. It is for everybody on his DSA team, because then he can say, this is why we need socialism, because all of the wealthy have run away and they've taken all the resources. Well, they earn those resources. People earn money. People come up with great ideas. They work hard. They develop companies and do all of that. And he poo-poos all of that because this is really the first real job he's ever had in his entire life. First time. This is a horrible choice for mayor. In New York City, we told you so. We told you it was going to happen. And this is just year one.
Yeah, absolutely. Folks, sound off in the chat. Do we have any New Yorkers in the chat or people that live in the city? Are you seeing these things happening? Do you have friends do you agree with the rent freeze? Or are you against it? Sound off. Let us know what you think. All right, folks, as you know, this is Pop and Politics. All right. We give it to you straight, no chaser, okay? And this is what we're about. So as you come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience, and we appreciate the support. If you are tired of power-hungry commie leftists trying to strip us of our rights and tear apart our country, you're in the right place, folks, because we push back against them. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Again, your super chats go a long way in keeping us online. Please, as you come in, hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, again, subscribe. Also, we have merch. Take a look here. Oops, we may not have it here. What's up, everybody? This is Pop and Politics. Get your merch. Are you a Pop and Politics fan? Are you unapologetically American? Or not black, not white American? We got it all for you right here. Get your merch.
Get the classic shirt. Classic. Goes with everything, comes in a variety of colors. Smart, edgy, conservative, like us, like you. This is a great way to support the channel. Click the merch button.
There is no shame in being an American. Get your shirt today and be unapologetic about it. Get your shirt, wear it, and be a proud American.
You can get it all in t-shirts and hoodies. You can get it in stickers, on bags. You can get it all on our website, metroconservativemedia.com, or our YouTube page, Pop and Politics, and tag over to store. You can get your merch and show you're proud to be an American and support Pop and Politics. All right, folks. Yes, indeed. It's a great way. Look at Nicole with her not black, not white American mug. All right. That's right where it is.
Around. You got it the wrong way.
You got to turn yours around, Shelly. Oh, there it is. That's the Pop and Politics. Yes. Beautiful, beautiful ladies. All right. Well, we're continuing along these lines, folks. It's not just New York City that is being run in the ground, or New York State. Maryland is right along with them. All right. Mm-hmm. Maryland has a brutal wake-up call for these, not just Maryland, but for all of the blue states. This blue state model doesn't work. Okay. And it's not just us talking about it. The numbers show it. All right. CNBC just dropped its 2026 America's Top States for Business rankings. And Maryland, it's staggering. Number 36 overall, with the second worst economy score in the country, 49th out of 50. We're only ahead of Rhode Island. You guys know we are actually here in Maryland. All right, take a look at this image here. Don't take our word for it. There it is. All right, Maryland sits at number 2, again, out of the worst economy score in the entire country. All right, let's talk about this, ladies, because we're here in Maryland. Nicole, what's going on?
Listen, this is what happens when they stop chasing industry, when they raise our power rates by closing all of our power plants. You know, this green energy initiative that everything's supposed to be all electric by 2030. All of these very far leftist ideas only work when you have the funding for it. We don't have the power grid for everybody to have an electric vehicle by 2030. I can tell you, and you guys know for certain, when it rains here, I pop off because my electricity is gone. You know, we have people who just got broadband a few years ago because where they live, the forest is so dense. Maryland is not geographically what you would consider an urban area where some of these blue policies might work. Maryland is largely agricultural. I mean, we have everything from the mountains of Allegheny County down to the sandy shores of Ocean City in Worcester County and everything in between. However, our leadership comes mostly from the Big Five counties, which are all urban. So they have these very urban ideas of how to push the state forward, and it fails flat every single time. And I'm not going to talk trash about our current governor. I'm just going to say, I hope he finds something better to do with his time because he's killing us. Our bond rating has suffered. Our children aren't any smarter. You know, we don't have money for the blueprint, but people are being commanded to find the money for the blueprint. We have illegal immigration run amok. The sheriffs are, you know, rebelling against him. This whole thing is just coming apart. All the functions of government have been adversely impacted by this man's uber left, uber liberal ideas. And unfortunately, it's going to probably take us a generation to get back to where we were when Larry Hogan, the king of the centrists, was our governor.
Right? Yeah. Shelley, what are your thoughts on this new ranking?
Well, I think, not only are we downgraded in Moody's, there was another, I think Standard & Poor's and another bond rating that we have been downgraded in, number one. Number two, many of the costs, if you will, and I'm talking about financial impact on Maryland, can be attributed to, where's my list right here? Top three, government infrastructure, or relying heavily on government, I'll say. Also, the long-term spending commitments, again, just spending, and the structural budget, which comes up almost every year. But Marylanders here, the delegates and the senators down in Annapolis, they just love to spend. They don't want to change the structure of the budget because they know it benefits them to have pockets and all these different pots that they can pull from. Now, in order for those pots to be filled, they keep taxing us and they keep raising fees on us. So this is how it's done. That's number two. Number three, overall, I think it was over 130 something thousand net migration difference. So we lost 130 something thousand people, but then it was made up. Guess why? International migration, better known as illegal immigration. Okay? Better known as, much of that 130 something thousand loss that was backfilled by illegals coming into.
We're being replaced. We're being replaced, folks.
Actively replaced.
Exactly.
Yeah. And you both mentioned some great points here. I mean, this scoring was basically due to an anemic GDP growth, okay? Quarter one, 2026 at just 1.5%. All right, that's really sluggish compared to faster growing red states. All right. And again, we have a heavy reliance on federal spending. And we know with President Trump and DOGE and the government cuts that, you know, it was a big hit to Maryland. As you mentioned, Shelley, high taxes, the cost of doing business. We are tax and feed out the wazoo from a corporate tax of 8.25% to a top individual income tax of 6.5%, sky high gas tax, over 65 cents a gallon. I mean, and this is why we have been slammed as one of the most unfriendly states to do business in, for businesses to do.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
The unemployment and jobs, 4.25% unemployment as of May. So job losses in the non-farm sectors, as you were talking about, Nicole, have elevated federal UI claims. This is tied to DC policy shifts. We were just talking about this earlier. Delegate Congolo was quoted in the Washington Times. We can no longer depend on government jobs. We got to start pushing entrepreneurship, trades, you know, things like this in order to, you know, be viable.
Yeah. And look, we technically in Maryland, we really don't have a reason to be behind in business expansion or business growth, because we have the top 2 hospitals and medical institutions, biotech, if you want to call it that, right here, literally in our backyard. We could literally, if we had to walk, quote unquote, to Johns Hopkins or University of Maryland, we probably could do that with no thought. You know what I mean? But compared to Virginia, North Carolina, the data shows that Maryland, CNBC, the top states for doing business, this is according to CNBC 2025, Maryland came in 32nd. 32nd out of 50 states. Virginia's the 4th, and North Carolina was the 1st. The cost of doing business, to even get businesses started here. I mean, just a simple sole proprietorship. If you want to get your business registered, it's going to cost you at least starting $300 off the bat. Okay, I think that may have gone up a little bit. $300 just to file the paperwork. Not to mention the time it takes to do it, the other expenses that go along with that, the energy, the labor. That's just the start. Every year it costs you $300 just to file the taxes on that. Okay, you make a change in your line item, that's another $200 or $300. That's just the start of a sole proprietorship, and that's even within your home, not even a facility or a brick and mortar building. So the costs are high as well. So all of these features and aspects add to the time constraints, the labor, the sheer cost of starting businesses. People don't want to have to do that. They want to go, if you're starting a business, nevertheless, startup phase, certainly, you don't want to have many expenses. You want to have more revenue coming in to not cover the expenses that you do have, but certainly to make a profit so that you can reinvest those profits back into your business and keep growing. Not here in Maryland.
No way, folks. And we are sounding the alarm because guess what? The governor of Maryland is looking for a new job, and he wants to be the president of the United States of America. They want to push this agenda across all of the states. Okay. And it's bad news, folks. And if you all are sitting around saying, oh, nobody's going to vote for this man, you better think again. All right. He is already out here campaigning. He's trying to get a national name for himself. Again, we're talking about Wes Moore. All right. The same man who just pushed a budget, $1 billion in tax hikes, including higher top brackets, capital gains surtax. I mean, the list goes on, expanded estate tax, tons of new fees. He wants to expand this across the country. All right. Absolutely. Wake up, folks.
Absolutely. Let's not forget that when he came into office almost 4 years ago, what was it, Nicole? It was a $6 billion surplus we had. $6 billion. He spent in the first 2 years, he spent the $6 billion plus some, which is why we got $2 billion more, which is what, so we're in the net a hole, if you will, which is why our bond ratings have gone down, not to mention the other expenses have gone up. And yet he's still touted on this national stage. Don't be fooled by him. I mean, he has a big ass and a big head, but don't be fooled by him, okay? Even all you gay people, if you like look at that male's asses, don't be fooled by his.
Don't be fooled. And I'm talking to the FBAs, okay? Because a lot of Black folks figure, okay, he's a Black guy, I'm going to vote for him. This man does not have your best interest at heart at all, folks. As we just said, they are getting rid of the FBAs and they're bringing in illegals, okay? We saw a net migration of people in this state, and we're seeing higher migration of illegals. This is what's happening. They're replacing us. I don't care if he's Black. I don't care what he is what he calls himself. All right. He does not care about you.
Well, let's look at this. Like Prince George's County is sort of a Black Mecca, mostly because they have federal employees who live there who make exorbitant amounts of money and live in beautiful homes and are well-educated workforce. Maryland has one of the highest educated workforces in any state in the nation. However, there is no tax just on white people. There are no taxes just on Hispanic people. There are no taxes on anybody but Black folk. That's not how government runs. So it makes no sense to invest your vote, because you only get one. Well, you're only supposed to get one. Let's do that. You only get one. Invest it in a man who looks like you, but doesn't think like you.
Mm-hmm.
Prince George's County is doing no better than St. Mary's County. In fact, dare I say, St. Mary's County is doing much, much better. You have to take a look at what he has done. If you're looking, saying he's Black, I'm Black, he should be for us. Look at what he's done for that entirely Black enclave. Prince George's County was powerhouse county as far as money is concerned. And when Doge started and people started losing their jobs, what was his response to that? Was it what they said before when they closed down the Keystone Pipeline? You guys need to learn how to code. Is that what he said? Or did he give them Maryland's little $900 every 2 weeks unemployment and told them, I know your mortgage is $4,000 or $5,000 a month, but this will keep your kids out of the soup line? Is more like what he said. So you really have to take a look. I get it. You want somebody who looks like you think it's representation, but does he think like you? Skin color is not enough because not all skin folk are kinfolk.
Oh no, this guy, Moore, Obama, they're all in the same boat as Mamdani, Walz in Minnesota, Gavin Newsom in California. All of them, the one thing they want is power and control, okay? They don't care about you. They don't care about your ethnicity. You know, the only reason why they're putting attention right now on Latinos mostly or illegals is because they know that they are beholden to them. You know, they can use the idea of sanctuary in this country without going about it the right way through the legal channels. And so that's what they're dangling in front of these people. Okay. And in reality, you know, these people are laughing at us. They're laughing at us while they tax and fee us to the wazoo. They're laughing at us. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And one more thing. If you hear President, oh my gosh, God forbid, Governor Moore on national TV talking about if it sounds like he's wanting to sell you a bridge, don't buy it because we still don't have our key bridge.
We still don't have a key bridge.
We literally don't have a key bridge. Our key bridge fell, unfortunately, in March. I think it was March of 2024. Unfortunately, 6 people lost their lives in that horrible accident. But don't buy it because we don't have a column or an abutment. We don't have anything going up to support a bridge over the Potomac. We don't. So don't believe it.
Right. Folks, sound off in the chat. Let us know what you think. Do you know people still falling for these people? Do you think he really has a chance? Speaking of Wes Moore, do you think he really has a chance to win the presidency? God forbid, as you said, Shelley. We have some super chats here. Let's see what we got.
Super chats here. Hi, Josh. We got Josh. Hey, thank you, Josh. Josh says, I'm hoping tomorrow's presidential address will be the start of a long focus on the economy. I hope all of these blue state and red state comparisons become central to the midterms. Also, Wes Moore is too phony.
All right.
Okay. Nancy, thank you, Nancy, for your super chat. If they rigged the presidential elections, do you really believe the state elections aren't rigged? Most didn't want this guy. That bedrock is now quicksand. I think you're talking about New York. Okay.
You got to do it too big to rig, as Trump said.
We got I hate her here. Thank you for your $10. Thank you for fighting against communists in the USA. We lost our fight in Hong Kong in 2019, partly because we didn't have 2A. God bless America. Communists uniting with Islamists is the number one threat. And that's exactly what Mamdani is doing.
Absolutely right. I hate CCP.
All right. Yep. Everybody hit that like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. You are in the right place. This is Poppin' Politics. And just remember, just for sake, I'm sure we'll have it up later, we won one of the top 10 spots on the Million Podcast Top 10 Conservatives. We did it. Hard work, consistency, and because of your support. We want to get on more top 10 lists, if you will. We want number 1 because we think we definitely can do it. We certainly can earn it. Not give it to us, but earn it. And with your support, we can keep going there.
Absolutely. All right, folks. So we got to talk about this. Now, this is actually, I think this is going to give you guys a little chuckle. Okay. All right. Most of the time, we don't want to talk. We don't want to see. We don't want to discuss the ends of the view. All right. But Sunny Hostin, she got it. She got it stuck to her this time. All right. So Sunny Hostin's 24-year-old son, Gabriel, was cited for trespassing on active Metro North Railroad tracks in New Rochelle recently. All right. And Miss Privileged Mother, all right, Miss Candyland herself, okay, I'm talking about from Django. She reminds me of Candyland because remember, folks, her and her family are slave holders, okay. Well, she, former federal prosecutor, flexed her muscle in her privilege and name dropped, okay, her TV gig, to the police in this matter. Take a look here. This is clip 3A.
Onto this Sunny Hostin from The View. Her son Gabriel, he got accused of trespassing on the North Metro Railroad tracks in Westchester County, New York. This was back in June. The young man, Gabriel, he was spotted jogging along the MTA tracks in New Rochelle, ignoring the no trespassing signs, mouthing off to the cops when they questioned him. Sources saying that Sunny escalated the situation, allegedly got on the phone with police asking if they knew who she was, telling them that she's Sunny Hostin and that she's on The View. Now that to me should have been enough to have an arrest, but no, I'm kidding here. Now, according to court records obtained by TMZ, Gabriel was cited for the incident, not arrested. The court records also revealed The View, the co-host, listed as the lawyer, where she argued dismissal would avoid imposing unnecessary consequences on a young man who has demonstrated exceptional character and achievement, who poses no risk to the community, blah, blah, blah here. What stands out to me is that she tried to use the I'm Sunny card here, like the police care. But
yes, she did. Yes, she did, folks. But who is she really? Who is she really?
where is my beautiful sister?
Miss Candyland. Sunny is Miss Candyland. All right. That's who she is. She's a slave holding, she just disgusts me. Shelly, what are your thoughts on this story?
Okay, so one of the questions I had was, number one, why does a 24-year-old grown man need to call his mommy just for getting a trespassing citation or violation?
He probably didn't call her.
I mean, no, he had to have called her because the police, they didn't know he was out, right? So that's number one. Number two, I said, let me, I wish I could have heard the audio because I would like to hear her tone because I know that former federal fuck up. Oh, I'm sorry, the attorney. I could just imagine her little snobby, high bone, yellow, golden hair, fake self was just so snippy and so snobby. And if I was that officer, I would have said, goodbye, hang up the phone. I'm dealing with your son here, okay? I can't even verify who you are. So what? You're inserting yourself in this. Let's deal with your son, who's a grown freaking man who still needs to suck from Sonny's tits. That's embarrassing. That's embarrassing that she's still raising a 24-year-old tit sucker.
Yeah. Nicole, what are your thoughts here?
Listen, that's not a big a flex as she thinks it is, because most people who work during the daytime have no idea what The View is and certainly have no idea who the hell she is. But with that said, Shelly made a valid point. You're 24 years old. You take it upon yourself to run past a sign that says no trespassing, then run past a second sign that says no trespassing. And when the police stop you, they're not trying to arrest you. They're just trying to give you a warning not to be trespassing here. And you pull out your cell phone and you call Mommy Dearest. What is she raising? Certainly not a man. Certainly not a man. Again, 19 nephews. And if they were trespassing somewhere, I can guarantee you the last one they would call would be any of their mothers, because that call would be like, take him with you. Don't give him a ticket. Put him in the car and take him with you because he can read. Yeah, we taught him to read when he was 3. He's been reading for a very long time. When you break the law, you have to pay the price. She's not doing him any favors by inserting herself into this situation. Federal prosecutor or not, her son can read. He knew he was in violation of law. Pay your ticket and mind your damn business. It does not have to be all of this extra. You don't have to say, well, I'm Sunny Hostin and I'm on The View. The View of what? Most people who work during the daytime have no idea who you are, what you stand for. All I know is your son was in the wrong place and he's going to get a ticket for it.
He should.
Absolutely. I would love to hear that and see that body cam footage. Thank you, BLM. Thank you, BLM, for body cam footage. Yeah. Not only is it entertaining, but people like Sunny have been brought down several pegs by playing their children behaving badly, her husband also behaving badly. And it's just a matter of time before somebody catches her ass on a body camera.
If any of you out there in chat land, if you can get your hands on that body cam, the audio call, please send it to us. Please send it to us.
Do a FOIA. Let's do a FOIA for it.
Because they're gonna. I think they're gonna delay putting it out until the court date. I mean, it's not even a felony or a misdemeanor according to New York's law. It's just a violation. And initially, it sounded like from the reports, it sounded like it was going in the direction of maybe the officer giving him just a warning. Now he has the actual citation, but who the hell needs mommy to go to court for a citation? I mean, many of us, I've gotten a citation before. You get one for speeding or whatever the case may be. Do you need to call mommy and suck some milk?
Why? This woman is a hypocrite. She sits on TV day in and day out and talks about how Black people or people of color are so oppressed, and white people are the oppressors. We're the victims and things like that. And here she is touting her privilege. Okay. We know this is a elitist woman. All right. She's an attorney. She has money. Her husband, I believe, is a physician, so her son is privileged, all right, which we all understand privilege. It's not just about skin color, okay? That's not it. Because if that were the case, then she wouldn't be able to throw out, pull out her big dick and say, I'm the big dick here because I have a TV show, She wouldn't be able to talk about that she's Sunny Candyland Hostin, as we know, because her family owns slaves. Yeah.
Where is my beautiful sister?
There she is. We're talking about Sunny Candyland Hostin. All right. But guess what, folks? There are rules here for a reason. Okay. The Metro North Railroad, MTA, has trespassing rules. And guess why? Trains kill. Yeah. Trains kill. Okay. Active tracks are not your personal jogging path. All right. Or hill training spot. It's a dangerous area, and they're doing this for his protection. But she wants to go around that, as we always know. This is what the Democrats do. But she got called out, as she should have.
I would have told, if I was the officer, I would have said, "Screw the view." That's what I would have said. Screw the view.
Yeah, the officer probably said the view of what? I mean, like, how would he know? He's a working person. Working people don't watch that kind of foolishness. That's for bored housewives. Everybody else got stuff to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, folks, sound off in the chat. Let us know what you think about this. Are you tickled as we are that she got called out, that her privilege didn't work? Or do you think that this is over policing on behalf of the city or state's side? Let us know what you think. All right, we have a super chat here, right, Shelly?
Yes, we do. Southern Charm, thank you for your $20. Same thing happened with the daughter of infamous Fulton County, Fanny, Fanny. She called Mama when she was pulled over and arrested for driving on a suspended license. That's even worse than a trespassing citation, okay? Exactly. And guess who showed up with Fanny to the arrest site? The Big Nathan.
Not Gorilla Gripping, Big Nathan. Girl.
Let's see. We have Kung Fu CJ. Thank you, Kung Fu. Kung Fu CJ's in the house. I am not getting notifications. All right. Well, refresh your feed and hit the notification bell again. And everybody else, don't forget to hype this podcast, to hype this live show here. Make sure you do that. It does help in the algorithm. That's what they tell me. So go ahead and do that, and make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe as well.
All right, folks. Well, we'll be back. We will be back. You can catch our Friday night show at 9 p.m. Folks, we are preparing a special broadcast for you guys. We are doing a deep dive in the Obama administration's impact on America. Okay, we're talking about policy, political impact, cultural impact, economical impact. You know, we're going to do a deep dive into this. So stay on the lookout for that. It's going to be a great expose. You will not want to miss it. It's going to be informative. And we're really going to do a deep dive on the impact of the Obama administration. And I think you guys are going to love it. So stay tuned. But again, we'll be back on Friday night at 9 p.m. Thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of purpose. Good night.
Good night.